Welcome everybody to today's video. This is part 2 of our training series on how to scale your tax and bookkeeping firm to over $20,000 per month in revenue. So in today's video, we're going to talk about one of the biggest bottlenecks that typically happens when you're trying to scale your tax and bookkeeping firm. This bottleneck plagues small businesses, entrepreneurs from all over the country in all sorts of industry and niches. And unfortunately, tax and bookkeeping professionals aren't exempt from this bottleneck, right? That actually prohibits you from being able to scale. And that is hiring. Hiring, when I was really trying to grow my tax and bookkeeping business, was one of the steepest learning curves that I had to systematically try to break through. I would hire family, I would hire friends, I would try to post on, Indeed and Upwork and all these different platforms. I will post on Facebook to say that I'm hiring, on other social media sites, trying to find the right person. And person after person, it just didn't work out. And it caused me a lot of heartbreak and pain. It really caused my business to plateau. I wasn't able to break past a certain income level because I was doing all the work myself. So I want to walk through step by step some of the notes that I have written here on how you can actually break past this plateau in your business and really scale to the $20,000 plus per month mark. We first need to understand, what are the 3 phases of business that you're probably in. So the very first phase is, a lot of you might be within, your side hustle. This is just something that you started to do on the side. You were working your 9-to-5 job and you wanted to get into taxes. You wanted to get into bookkeeping, and you started taking on one-on-one clients from there. Now, when you're doing your side hustle, everything is great because you still have your 9-to-5 income. You still have, other sources of income coming in. So you really aren't worried about scaling. You aren't worried about hiring anybody. You're just grateful that you're making some extra money on the side. This is for you if you're still working your job, you're still working your 9-to-5. Yes, you can start to grow this business to where you can comfortably walk away from your 9-to-5 and really focus on growing your tax and bookkeeping firm. But it does take time, right? I would say typically, if you give yourself about 12 to 18 months of focused, deliberate action on your marketing strategies, on your onboarding, on your workflow, you will be able to comfortably walk away from your 9-to-5 job with whatever revenue that you're currently bringing in. Now, the second phase of business that you're typically going to go into is the entrepreneur status. This is where you have no safety net. You have no other 9-to-5 income really providing you additional streams of revenue. And your capacity and your ability to market yourself, to get clients consistently, is all predicated on yourself. You have to really master the marketing process, and you have to know how to start to run a seamless operations within your business. Now, unfortunately, during the entrepreneurial journey or the phase of business, there's a lot of testing and tweaking. There's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of failure within this phase because you're trying to work it out. You're Googling all the things still. You're getting clients, right? You're hustling and you're getting clients in, but you still can't really seem to make it consistent. In the entrepreneur phase, one of the key characteristics is you don't have consistent revenue coming in every single month. Now, that's okay because that still can equate to, let's say, a 6-figure income. It still can equate to you making 50 grand, 60 grand, $75,000 in a year. You just haven't been able to do it consistently, like $5,000 per month. You might have a $7,000 month one month, and then you might have a $3,000 month the next month. And then the month after that, you might make 10 grand in a month. But in the entrepreneur journey is really the pivotal moment within your business journey that you really need to start figuring out how to build an A team, right? And so we're going to walk through a few different steps on how you're actually going to be able to do that. So right now, you've probably already had your first $5,000 a month. You probably already had your first $10,000 a month. You might even have already had your first $20,000 a month, but it has not been consistent. And what you strive is consistency in your revenue, consistency in your cash flow. So I'm going to walk through a few steps that we're going to be able to go through this together. So step number 1, find out where your deficiencies are. Now, this is one of the very first things that I had to do was look at what was painful about running my business. What did I absolutely hate to do, right? For me, that was administrative work. I hated answering emails. I hated, going through my DMs. It just took a lot of time. I loved engaging with my clients. Don't get me wrong. I love connecting with my clients. I love connecting with prospects, right? People that were just supporters, right? Within my community. But it took a long time to go through my email, my DMs on Facebook, my DMs on Instagram, my DMs on LinkedIn, and manage all of the support or feedback questions or requests that were coming my way. And what I found was that because this aspect of my business was being deficient, was painful for me, it was actually causing me a lot of money, right? Because clients would be like, hey, I emailed you, or not even clients, but prospects, people that wanted to become a client, couldn't become a client because they just wanted to connect first. They just wanted to make sure that a particular service was right for them. And because I wasn't able to make that connection, unfortunately, they probably went somewhere else, or they were just left in pain with their problem, right? Because they couldn't get a hold of me. So it caused not only myself pain in my business, but it was causing my prospects pain too, because they were looking to me for the solution. One of the ways that I want you to kind of help wrap your head around the hiring process, which is, by the way, like I said, one of the steepest learning curves you're going to go through, one of the biggest bottlenecks in your business, is start looking at what is painful right now about running your business. What do you really hate to do, honestly? What are you really not good at, but you know it needs to be done? So for instance, if you guys are on my email list, right, I have an email list of almost 15,000 people that I barely communicate to, because writing emails just isn't something that, it's just something that I just can't work myself up to do right now. So I'm correcting that. And one of the ways that you guys are going to be able to go through this process is you're going to identify all of the gaps in your business that are actually prohibiting you from scaling your business. Not answering or not following up with prospects, that is a huge deal. If you have people that you have not followed up with because you don't have the help, that is a big deal. You're leaving money on the table. If you aren't communicating frequently with the people that, your leads that you have collected, the leads that you have built up. I told you guys that one of the biggest things that you want to focus on is your LSS, your list, which is leads, strategy sessions, and sales. And from there, if you are not constantly getting leads into your business, then you can't get sales, right? You can't get strategy sessions. You can't get sales. I want to teach you guys how to identify the painful areas in your business and how you can systematically put processes and put people in place that can take on some of the tasks that you just aren't proficient in. Step number 2, what activities translate into paid clients? Again, in that first scenario, in that first step, when we were identifying our deficiencies and identifying what was painful for us in our business, the second thing you really want to pay attention to are what of those activities are actually revenue generating activities. What of those activities actually leads to leads, strategy sessions, and sales? And those activities you need to place a high priority on. If you are deficient, or if you lack the skills or lack the consistency in following up on those key performing indicators for your business, you won't be able to scale past really the $20,000 per month mark. What I want you to do is write down what of these activities actually generate revenue for you. And those are the activities that you want to ensure always get done, no matter what. One of the biggest bittersweet moments that happen with my students and tax and accounting clients on demand is that they'll come to me and they're like, Krista, now that you taught me how to get leads, strategy sessions, and sales, I now have clients, and now I have clients that I'm doing work for, and I have to stop my marketing. I have to start my LSS process. It's such a bittersweet moment because it's like, I'm glad they have clients. You can't afford to stop marketing. You cannot afford to stop talking to people, to stop getting leads into your business, to stop generating sales, because you're going to go on a feast and famine roller coaster with your business, right? And so I systematically started to create training programs and coaching sessions around hiring, around outsourcing. And I would tell them, if you don't do anything else, make sure you put somebody in place specifically for your marketing. Make sure you have somebody doing the marketing strategies that I've taught you in this program. And I want you guys to do the exact same thing. As soon as you get clients in, you need to have systems and people and processes in place that if nothing else gets done, your leads, your strategy sessions, and your sales are still churning like a machine. So step number 3, what do you typically put off? This is the thing that could actually be driving growth for your business. So one of the things that I was putting off was really building out my sales, my inbound sales team, people to actually pick up the phone and talk to people. And because I put this off for over a year. I struggled with this because I was like, oh my God, not only do I have to find people that actually enjoy phone sales, right? But I also have to train these people on phone sales. I have to monitor these people for quality assurance purposes. I have to create a payment and commission structure for all of these people. Like in my mind, it was just, I didn't want to deal with it. So one of the things that I want you to really self-assess and identify within your business is, what are you putting off? And normally and typically, the things that you're putting off are the things that are actually going to drive growth for you in your business. So now we've actually created a process. We're about to onboard several people just for inbound sales. And I have, without a shadow of a doubt, that it's actually going to 10x my business over the next several months. Step 4, what aspect of your leadership and your management style do you need to improve upon, right? And this was something that I struggle with because I'm really good when it comes to family and relationships. Like if it's something I don't like, if it's, I have high expectations for the people in my personal life, and I have no problem communicating those expectations to those people, right? Whether it's my children, whether it's my boyfriend, family members, like I'm very clear when I communicate and what my expectations are. What I noticed in business, I wasn't as clear. I was more passive. Right? I was more, passive aggressive. I didn't want to confront people, employees. I didn't want to let them know that I was dissatisfied. And for me, I rather just text somebody like, hey, it's not working out, as opposed to coaching and training and pouring into my staff and building them up to the level that I needed them to operate at. So one of the biggest key lessons that I've learned when actually scaling your business is that there's no more room for being passive aggressive, right? Not really communicating with people, not taking the time to coach and train them, not really setting your expectation. I had 2 ladies work with me last year in my home, and employees, they start off really well, right? They come in, they do all the work, and then after a while, some, depending on the employees, some of them start to fizzle out. So this was like that situation. They were starting to fizzle out, and I will look over at them and they'll be on their phone, they'll be sitting there eating. I came over one lady's shoulder and she like clicked off of something. She was watching a movie or something on Netflix, right? With her headphones on. I'm thinking she's just listening to music and she's like watching a whole movie while she was supposed to be working. And so for me, I didn't know how to approach that. I'm like I didn't like it. And my boyfriend at the time, he was like, Krista, you need policies and procedures. You need to train, right? You need to set expectations. You need to have them sign off on your policies and procedures. Let them know what the expectations are. That has been something that has drastically changed with the way I manage my team now. Now I'm straightforward to the point. Now I take the time to actually train and set those expectations. And you guys, in order for you to really scale past $20,000 per month, you have to step into true CEO status. A true CEO doesn't just let employees slack off. A true CEO communicates. They have frequent coaching sessions. They have frequent feedback that they give their staff so that they can be better. They have very specific and very clear KPIs that their employees must hit, right? Very clear objectives that their employees must accomplish. And you, as an entrepreneur that's really trying to step into this third phase of business, which is a true CEO, you have to learn how to effectively communicate with your team. You have to learn how to effectively set expectations, right? And let people know when they're falling short on your expectations. Go at them head on like you would maybe a relationship in a very sound management style. Now, that's what I'm teaching you guys is how can you increase your leadership skills? How can you increase your management style to where you can effectively communicate with all types of people? Because there are all types of personalities, and how can you start to learn those different types of personality traits? There are people that prefer to be coached via video, right? Like there are visual learners. There are other people that are doers. They have to physically do the work in order to absorb it. So you have to understand when you're looking and when you are training your team, what is this person's personality style? How do they prefer to be communicated with? How do they prefer to learn? And actually being open to and being flexible with training your staff to make sure that your point gets across, to make sure that your expectations are communicated. Step 5 is make sure you have the right people in the right position. This is another thing that I would miss the mark on. I would hire somebody for one position. It could be a friend, a family member, whatever the case may be, because I was lazy in my hiring practices. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But I will hire these people and I will put them in the job that I needed at the moment, but not necessarily the job that they were skilled in or that what their personality style was skilled in. So for instance, there are, two types of people. You have your worker bee. This is the person that you give instructions to. You say, here are some instructions. Here's what you need to do. Let me demonstrate. Now you go do it. And those people would just execute. These people are not innovators. They do not take initiative. You have to give them step-by-step instructions on exactly what you need them to do. They aren't going to add any extra sauce on it. They aren't going to innovate on it. They are just worker bees. And that is still great, right? You need a segment of your employee population to just get the work done, right? Now, the other segment of your employees are going to be more of those intuitive employees, right? They're going to be able to spot and identify weaknesses in your operations and take the initiative to correct it. They're going to make sure that they communicate in a way that reflects your brand and you as the brand of the business in a positive light. They're going to, create strategy or help you mastermind around strategy, right? So you have those higher level employees that they are really valuable because they take the initiative. They actually make you more money. They're more operational with their strategies. Their growth mindset, right? And so when you're looking at that, you have to make sure that you don't have a growth mindset person doing worker bee stuff, because you are going to be underutilizing their skills, their talents, their expertise. You're going to be losing money. And you have to make sure that you don't have a worker bee trying to innovate and trying to create strategy and growth, because it's just not in their strong suit. It's not who they are. And so what you want to look at is, after I've identified all the things that I'm, deficient on in my business, all of the things that are painful for me to do, identifying, the things that actually produce revenue for my business, I really need to figure out who is the best person for this job, right? Who is the best person for this job? And I'll tell you a little insider. In my program, I teach my students on how to find a full stack individual. A full stack individual is a person that has both characteristics. They are innovators. They are leaders. They like challenges, right? These are people that you can come to and be like, hey, I got this problem. They can help you brainstorm through it. And they are awesome worker bees. They get work done. They do it and they do it well. So if you can find this person, if you can find those two attributes in one person, you will have a thriving business in record time. Because with that one person will be able to 10x their employee pay, right? So whatever you pay them, that one person, that full stack person, you should be able to make 10x what you pay them. For instance, I just hired an amazing online business manager. And within the first week of her working with me, I think her pay was $1,000 for the first week. I've literally made several $1,000s in that 1 week of her working with me, because she's a full stack online business manager. Not only does she innovate, she takes initiative, she's intuitive, she's a great mastermind partner, but she's also a awesome worker bee. Like she churns out work like it's effortless. And so if you can find somebody like that, that can handle the majority of your business, be actually your entire business operations person, this person will pay for itself. What I want to tell you is that if you don't really get a handle on your hiring and you allow this to just sit because you don't have the time to do it, right? You dread doing it. You are literally leaving tens of thousands, if not millions, depending on where you're at, on the table. Look at it as an investment. You're going to take the time out to interview dozens and dozens of people. Don't just interview 2 and 3 people and pick the best one out of those 2. You have to take the time and speak to 12 plus people, interview 12 plus people, understand different personality styles, and you have to understand your own personality. Right? There are great resources online that would tell you your personality style, that you can take quizzes that will let you know your personality traits, what you're great at, what you're not great at. So for someone like me, I'm great at just researching, gathering all the facts, and then implementing. As long as I'm clear on what the facts are, I can execute and implement anything. Now, what I'm not great at is setting up operations, is setting up standard operating procedures, is following up, right? I'm not great at any of that. I'm just the fact person plus execution. Facts and execution are and is my strong suit. So for me, I needed somebody that was more detailed. They were more micro. They were combing through everything with the fine tooth comb, and they were actually creating processes for me. So once I executed, I needed this person to start picking up all of the pieces that I was leaving behind and organizing it in a systematic way. You have to understand what is your unique characteristics. Typically, if you're the entrepreneur, you're somebody like me that you're an extreme fact finder and then an executor. You need someone that is the opposite of you. You need someone that is really good at creating processes, creating procedures, and they thrive in environments like that. But if you're the opposite, then you need a high executor. If you like creating standard operating procedures, if you have to make sure everything is perfect before you do something, you need somebody that's a quick executor that can complement that personality trait. Okay. So what I want to leave you with, in order to scale past $20,000 per month in your tax and bookkeeping firm, is you have to solve your bottleneck problem, right? If you can't finish your marketing strategies, if you don't have enough time to do your marketing strategies, you need to hire. If you don't have enough time to complete all of the client work that's been coming your way, all of the tax preparation, all of the bookkeeping, the CFO services, the tax resolution, the tax planning, if you have clients that have been backlogged for, more than 7 days, you have an operational bottleneck. You need to hire. So there are very specific places in your business that you need to hire because it's painful. If every day when you go to work, you are overwhelmed about your workload, you're overwhelmed that your marketing strategies aren't being deployed, then you need to start really sourcing and finding a team player, a full stack player that can actually take on a lot of your back end process for you. Not only would they be able to do your marketing strategies on social media, manage your calendar, but they can also help you with onboarding, help facilitate your workflow, make sure you stay on track. Just having that full stack person will free up a lot of your time to where now you can innovate. Now you can think about, additional services or improving upon the services that you're currently offering your clients and how you can actually make more revenue at the end of the day. All right, guys, so share this video, subscribe to this channel if this video was helpful to you, and let me know in the comments below, where are you really struggling at within your business? Is it marketing? Is it operations? Is it your workflow? Comment below. Let's start a little fireside chat in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in part 3 of our training series next time. Have a great day.